everyone, it's Terrence Branley, and welcome back to another episode of the Grow IT podcast. And today I'm lucky to have Michael Durante, who is the president of Thai National, and as well as having a phenomenal podcast background behind him there. He has come to talk to us about his offering, and we're excited to have you today, Michael.
Oh, thank you, Terrence. I really appreciate it. It's good to be here. So I'm looking forward to it.
Cool. Well, let's get started. Tell us a little bit about your background. Tell me about your entrepreneurial journey. I know you've had Thai National for 20 plus years, but kind of walk us through it.
No, certainly. My journey actually starts a long time ago with my father's journey. My father, Rich Durante, is the founder of Thai. He started working for the phone company back in the 1960s.
Which
in
one?
New York. I believe it was AT&T.
Yeah,
it must have been, because that's all there was.
So there's a tie for us, right? So my father worked for AT&T. He did installing and PBX stuff from like 1960 to like 1990, and then my mom worked for Pacific Bell. So they initially, I can give you some historical background. So initially they'd work for I think it was called Ma Bell, it was just Bell, right? And then they were part of the monopoly breakup, right? When I think the government came in and said, "Hey, this is a monopoly," and so it split into AT&T and Pacific Bell. So
yep. So it might have actually even been Ma Bell. I don't know. I'm going to have to ask, and it's been a long time. But when divestiture happened in the late 60s, and that's when phone systems were allowed to be put onto the telephone lines, he actually moved over and started working for a company called Thai Communications. Thai Communications was the second largest phone manufacturer in the country. So he worked up his way through engineering and then eventually into sales. But when he was the head of engineering, he actually worked with the salesperson that went to all the different Bell companies, and they were OEMing. After that sale, they were OEMing all of the phone systems from the Bell companies.
Okay.
So, but he worked on features like line privacy, right, which they didn't have before. So where you can be on a line and somebody else can't break into it just by pushing a button, and different areas that you think back on it, and it's just like another world. Putting in capacitors on boards to make buttons blink either longer or shorter, things like that. So he worked his way up, and then into the 90s, he started working for the national section of Thai Communications, where they only sold to large national companies. One of his biggest clients was Sears Roebuck. So he put all the phone systems in for them across country. He wound up running that division, and then the owner of Thai at that point decided to sell to the Marmon Group. Marmon Group decided to kind of break things up a little bit, sell off to Intertel. Intertel took it, got rid of all of the local branches, about 500 local branches, and kept the national sales piece. And then from there, they basically got rid of Thai. They just absorbed it and got rid of it. So in 2003, Rich went and picked up the name Thai National, and started with a large sale to Sears for wireless analog phones through the Ingenious product. After he did that, that's when he contacted me. We got in with DHL Express, who we actually got in with Airborne Express at the time for one of his old contacts. DHL bought them, and they started a big project. So he contacted me and asked, he said, "Listen, I need help," right? Back then, I was 22 at the time. I was in banking. I became a branch manager at 20. So at that time, I was running about 5 different branches as a senior manager, being looked at for the next regional spot. And I took a pretty big pay cut moving over and helping my father out. I lived about 2 hours away from him at the time, so we basically were set up in his house in different rooms. I had a computer in my room and a couch, and that's where I slept during the week. And then, just basically built the business from there. So, got our first offices going the next year, and kept growing from that point. When he retired in 2017, I took over the company as president. My first initiative was to go remote. So we moved all of our servers up to the cloud, got everything ready. By the time the pandemic hit, we were full remote. I had people already in different states. So really that did not slow us down at all. And from there, we just kept growing and opening up the market to all the different states. It's just allowed me to get such great people. But I mean, it's been a long journey, right? So
There's a lot of good stuff there. We are going to have some fun on this one. Okay, so let's talk about where you are now. What
yeah,
is your offering? Is it related at all to, communications? I know you guys are classified probably as like an MSP, right? Managed service provider, or is that accurate?
part of it. So the best way to describe us is basically a technology installer. So we started with phone systems and structured cabling. And as we grew, we started adding on different what we call areas of industry. So we started adding on networking, then we started adding on data security, then we started adding on uh, video surveillance, then door access. So any sound masking, background music, and paging. So anything that technology touches, we can do. We built an offering and broke our company into two divisions. One being our franchise division, so franchise and retail, where we go in and we say, okay, we work with a franchisor, and then we help install each individual franchisee out in the field. In those scenarios, we're generally it's a smaller build, but it's all those different areas of technology, even to providing our partners for circuits, phone systems, background music, sources, things like that. On the other side of the house, our enterprise side, that's our DHLs of the world, those big clients that we come in and we say, listen, we're a solutions provider. We're going to sit on your side of the table, determine where your pain points are, and then work to fix them and partner with different companies to help fix them. Great example of that. Um, we got approached by one of our large clients, and they said, "Listen, do you work on these Zebra printers?" Geez, printers. No, but we do have a partner that does. So they said, "Well, it's going to be a lot easier for us to push the paperwork through you. Can you get them going, get a contract for us, and just run our Zebra printers across country? We need a maintenance program for them." And we did. So we went, we talked with our partner, got everything through, basically pushed the paperwork through us and got the contract going. Um, when it comes to a lot of the red tape, sometimes just having that relationship is a lot easier to deal with one partner than multiple. So, but we're very transparent about it. And that's, if you look at our mission statement, transparency, honesty, and passion are our three pillars that we go by. We never come in and say, yes, we're doing this and have someone else run it. We come in and we say, listen, we're partnering with somebody who is a leader in the industry, and we're going to be at the table with you and make sure that you're getting the right service and everything's going right. If not, we'll bring in another partner.
Well, I can tell you from having had, owned some brick and mortar style businesses, which I think we touched on earlier, and having those Zebra printers, I can tell you there's a lot of headaches involved. So as soon as you said it, I think I started getting PTSD just from my days in dealing with it. So it sounds to me more like you're a service solutions provider. And what I mean by that is, MSP, typically a managed service provider, obviously it's outsourced, saying, hey, that's not in our core competencies, take it and do it. And I don't want to say commodity, but sometimes that can be looked at as a commodity. But to me, it sounds like the way you're describing it, you're more of almost like a consulting firm type of, approach in terms of going in and understanding the, pains, desires of a prospect client and solving those.
Right. And that's what we enjoy doing. How we are successful comes back to actually Rich's story. When we started Thai National, those 500 branches for Thai Communications that broke up, those managers had a client base and they all just started their own companies. They became our first subcontractors out in the field. So we were able to pick up a national presence very quickly by utilizing all those old relationships. Even today, I'm working with a lot of the sons of those previous owners. Right, for anybody who could pass it on to their kid. Um, the One of the big pieces that we did there to be successful, though, was also to take care of the people who take care of our customers. So we do our best to pay on a net 15 to all of our contractors. We have contractors that only work for us and will not work for other national companies because of that. We don't mandate that by chance, but we also don't wait. We'll be paid 60, 90 days down. But because we are that flexible and we could do those things, that's why we enjoy going in and being that solutions provider, because we have the ability to do a lot of different things. We don't want to say to a customer, either fit in this box or go away.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about some of the different, as you're going into different clients, and obviously you said, enterprise at some, franchisor, franchisee, and the other side. But what are some of those? And I know there's no typical, right? But like, give us some, examples of some, problems, challenges that some of your clients are trying to solve when you come into these conversations.
Certainly. When it comes to new clients, it obviously depends on where they are. We talk about the franchise piece pretty extensively, but sometimes we're coming in with a franchise when they only have 10 locations they're trying to build out, right? There's a beef shop in Chicagoland area right now that's trying to expand, and they decided to go franchising and slow go, and they're learning a lot of lessons that we've seen learned before, but we come in and we help them kind of organize and get things ready for that, as opposed to a client that has 200 locations already, and they're like, "Listen, we never standardized the thing, and we really need help here." So when it comes to those bigger clients that really need the standardization help, when we come in, we identify what they have in the field, and then we work to actually try to support those items. So, for example, a new client that we have now is utilizing all Ubiquiti routers. We didn't have a Ubiquiti certified technician, so what we did was we had one of our engineers go out and say, "Listen, we can take this over. We can help you through this. Then we'll help you build the standardization across the field." But we got that person through some training courses, made sure that we had our engineering set up for it, and we were able to help that client. Uh, we don't. We certainly don't want to box ourselves in or say, "You know what, that's wonderful, but we're not going to support that." A lot of this stuff, a lot of the routers, a lot of the pieces out there are very interchangeable,
Hmm.
as long as you understand the high level concepts and as long as you have people that are there that are able to understand, where to go to get some answers, right? Where you're clicking in a router to open a port is going to be different for each router, but it's all the same concept.
So let's talk about some success stories, right? And I know you've got plenty of stories. We were talking about one, even before you got on, but let's talk about some success stories because obviously when you have, and it doesn't always have to be like problems that you're solving, but typically that's what drives a lot of business decisions
Yeah.
is pain first, right? Desired outcome is second, right? Pain first, fix pain, then we'll go to the good stuff. But talk to us about some of the success stories that you guys have made.
We have a real good one that we did a couple years back. We had a client approach us, had 1,100 locations, somebody we've been working with for a very long time. And they said, "Listen, we are upgrading all of our credit card readers to new chip and pins, and we have a very labor intensive piece that we need to get done, and we need to do it fast." So we went to them and we said, "Okay, how fast are you looking? What are you looking to do with it?" So they said, "We have until," and it was less than a 6-month time frame to get everything done. But they also said, "Well, we don't want any non-W2 employee or contractor to have our admin passcodes." I said, "Okay, so that adds a level of challenge." We did was um, we put together a team, and one of the other challenges was that the technology they were installing wasn't prepared yet. So put together a team. We started building a rollout schedule, and when we got to pull the trigger, they had about 8 weeks left before they needed to have all these installed. So
Plenty of time, huge
plenty of
window.
time. So we had a team of 9 employees, 2 project managers, and 7 engineers in-house. We then had a developer create a phone program for our contractors where they would put in their code, log in, and this was 2015 we did this. So put in their code, log in, get their list of what sites they were going to, and be able to identify and change what status they were in. Hey, I arrived on site. Hey, I did the pre-install. Now we need remote programming. And what happened was our help desk people were able to see on their monitors, okay, this is what's queued up that you need to work on. So they were able to pick it up, give a call in, remote into the site, get all of the changes and all the updates done, run through tests with the technician, change the status of their ticket. Then the technician had to do some cleanup, take some pictures, upload some stuff, and then they were off to the next job. We were only able to work Monday through Thursday because they didn't want to do anything on Friday because of their business.
So wait, you have an 8-week window, and they're keeping you 4 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So we ran it at 60 technicians a day. So we hit 60 sites a day, average. And about a week and a half into it, they found that what they were rolling out didn't have a good firmware update. So they had us put on a pause. So we get a call at 10:30 at night, and me and the other executives were in the office, or came to the office, and we're talking with the big CIO of the customer, and he goes, "As of tomorrow, I need you to pause this." Okay. I got people out there. They're ready to go. They're, okay. We'll find a way. So we paused it for about a week, and then we picked it back up. We got that whole rollout done in 6 weeks with the
No
pause.
kidding. With the
So
pause
with
and
the
4
pause,
days a week.
so we had 2 weeks left to do cleanup. So we were able to go back to any place that had an issue, make sure we took care of it, and push through. So it was very exciting. It was a lot of work, but it was very exciting. One of the things that I enjoyed with it was trying to find a good solution to be able to have our in-house engineers work with our technicians without losing time or having people sit in a phone queue. So building that app was very key to that. But on top of that, they changed the scope about 2 or 3 times during that whole
Of
process.
course they did.
Of
Of
course,
course.
they like, oh, we want you to use 3M tape and stick these things to the counter. I said, okay, so make sure the manager's there. Okay, if the manager's not there, what do you want us to do? Manager has to be there. Okay, we're going to work our best on that. And afterwards, they're like, oh, no, wait, you don't have to stick them anymore. Just leave them and then they'll stick them. I said, okay. The next day, I think there were like 4 or 5 technicians that still stuck them down. And we got a call. They're like, why'd they do this? I go, guys, I don't have these guys coming to my office every morning and having a meeting. Like, we got the message out. We're going to keep going with it. But so there were little hiccups here and there, but nothing that wasn't able to be handled.
It's
It was a fun
amazing in
time.
business, by the way, that things even get done sometimes, especially with the larger enterprise larger organizations, right? I mean, it's like, uh,
I mean, I think their big piece was they were changing processors, and they weren't very transparent with us why
yeah,
they wanted to do stuff or where they wanted to go with it. But I think they were changing processors, and they needed to have it done by a certain point. But the new processor just wasn't ready, and it was interesting.
yeah, no, and so back with my PTSD from my Zebra printers days, we did the same thing. We changed credit card processing. Now we only had 2 locations, so clearly far less than the 1,600. But even then, just to do the seamless changeover, right, was pretty difficult because there are certain things that are shared. Even though we had both card readers in place, but there were certain things that were shared that at some point you had to kind of cut off and go. Let alone, hey, there's 3M tape that where does the manager want the actual keypad?
Well,
So I
tell you
feel
what,
your pain. I can imagine.
I'll give some props to 3M product, man. Once you put those things down, they were
They're
not
staying.
coming up.
It's like cement.
Yeah. So, but but it was what's it called? It was a testament to my employees. They did a phenomenal job. I mean, all of them really stuck out. When you put a pause like that in there too, that was rough because we had some rolling teams. I mean, we have over 2,000 contractors now across country that we work with,
You must
and
have a very strong network too. That's the other thing. I know we talked about another story, that's similar to this in terms of leveraging. You have to have a strong network because to be able to deploy. It's one thing to put together your in-house team of what'd you say, 8 to 10 people, right?
yeah,
But it's another to have boots on the ground to be able to do this, enact this over across 1,600 locations. Let's say in, I mean, an 8 week time period is mind blowing. The fact that you guys did it in 6 is a testament to the network and the strong relationships you guys must have
yeah.
across
Let me
country.
correct you. It was 1,100. I don't know if I said 16 earlier. It was 1,100. But but
It's
yeah,
not going to change. It's not going to change my opinion on it, but I appreciate the fact check.
the but no, actually, and that's one of the pieces, and I brought it up before, but one of the pieces was that we take care of our contractors, right? We're not reverse bidding anything. We're not going out and saying who could do it the cheapest, right? These are guys that we trust. Are there going to be times, and this is one of the conversations we had to have with that other CIO who didn't, I don't know if he's done a rollout before that large or not, probably not, but he's like, I don't understand why this person didn't make it. It's like, well, this person's car broke down. Well, another technician had that problem too. I'm like, I'm rolling 60 trucks a day. Like, someone's going to be sick. Someone's going to, it's going to happen. We'll pick it. We have time at the end of the schedule. We'll be picking it back up. But yeah, when it comes to that network, it's about trusting those people and taking care of them. So we talked a little bit before about making sure you're taking care of your employees, and that's why I don't have problems finding employees across country to work for me. But the whole thing with the contractors is if I'm sending somebody to a site, right? They're interrupting their business. And have we run into bad contractors before and had to take them off our list? Yes. I mean, I had one that was on there for 5, 6 years, did nothing but good work, and then something happened, and everything just got shoddy, and you just had to pull the plug on it and put in somebody else in that area. But it happens.
Well, you mentioned, the ability to have good people, strong relationships, retain employees, and in a service slash solution based business, one of the most difficult things for growth
Right.
is having good people, right? And what that means too is that when you're trying to grow your business and it's heavily reliant on good, talented people, that becomes kind of a bottleneck or constraint. What are some of the challenges as you look to continue to grow your firm? What are the biggest challenges that you are facing and see as kind of some bigger constraints that you're going to need to tackle?
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate it. Well, I will say this month actually marked the 19th anniversary of my longest standing employee. So
Wow.
yeah, and the majority of my employees, are 5 years plus. So, like you said, you're in the service industry. It's about keeping the right people, right? One of the one of the if anybody who's gone through hiring understands it is not a fun process, right? Going out there trying to pick the right person and then making sure that the person you're interviewing isn't someone completely different once they get through the door. There's a lot of time, a lot of money, and then if you decide it's not the right person, you're starting all over, and usually months down the line. So one of the things, a lot of the things we initiated besides going full remote. So we are full remote. Everyone's able to work from home. Everyone's able to bring their own device. So we have all of our security set up so that we can use different devices and whatnot, anything from MacBooks to iOS to Android to, obviously Microsoft. But everything's web browser based for us. Besides that, we also offer a technology upgrade fee. So once every handful of years, we pay to upgrade someone's technology. They can decide what to buy. We reimburse it for a certain amount. So I have people out there who's like, listen, I want a $1,200 MacBook. It's like, not a problem. I'm not buying the whole thing though. So um, on top of that, we do unlimited PTO. We do not. Surprisingly, it's funny when I put it in place. My father, is retired. He's like, I don't understand. Like, how are people not going to take advantage of this? I go, listen, if they do, then it's a different concern, right? You take a look at it and you just say, like, trust your people, understand that sometimes they're going to need time off. I'd rather them be rested and take care of things than be stressed out, make mistakes, right? We also have, excuse me, we also have a 401k match. We have insurance across country. So we get out there with our employees and we just make sure that they have the tools that they need and they have a good work-life balance. I got 2 young kids myself. I know how important it is to be there for them. So, and my father said this to me one time, a long time ago. He goes, you ever make anyone choose between their family and their job, they will 100% choose their family all the time.
And if they don't, there's a bigger problem.
That's absolutely right. So yeah, so that's basically what we based our company around, was just taking care of the people that take care of our clients, whether it be our contractors, whether it be our employees, or even whether it be the customers that we're talking to ourselves, because we're usually talking to somebody in the IT group, and their clients are the people out in the field. So so we have to go back and make sure that they understand that we're taking care of not only the person there, but the person in the field. So we do surveys for every single ticket. We have KPIs for every single one of our employees. Um, I got had an old story that my father told me one time. He had a salesperson down in Southern California, and the local manager called him to complain. He's like, Tom's never in his office. He's out doing stuff. He's never working the times he's supposed to work. My father goes, Tom's at 125% to goal. I don't care what Tom does. He never has to be there. If he's hitting his numbers, I don't care. And really, that's what it is. As long as you can identify what your employees are doing, as long as you can say, like, listen, are you doing the right thing? Excuse me. I had somebody complain to me like, your employees on Facebook all the time. my employee just brought in $500,000. I really don't care if they're posted on Facebook.
Yeah, and I'm a big, it's interesting. I had this conversation not too long ago with somebody, and it was in the realm of what we're talking about, which is activity versus results, right? And someone making the comment like, you know, this person, I don't think they're working hard enough. And I was like, well, their numbers show that they are. And he's like, what do you mean? Like, look at what they're doing, right? Look at what they're doing in terms of conversions. Look at what they're doing in terms of they're a little bit further down the sales funnel, right? So it wasn't sales dollars, but it was like I don't care what they're doing, but whatever they're doing, they're delivering the results, and that's all I care about. I don't care about how the sausage is made. I just care at the end it comes out the sausage that I want.
Right, exactly. So, but when it comes down to like, yeah, we do enjoy IT. We do enjoy being a solutions provider and helping those people, and that's how we really approach our sales. So we're not just like that MSP, like you said. We're not like a,
No.
hey, I'm going to sell you this piece and I'm going to sell you this part, and if you don't want this part or want this piece or want this service, go find it somewhere else. Our whole thing is taking care of people, and that's really what we wanted to build our business around, and it's much more enjoyable.
It's amazing, right? You can actually make your life a little bit easier. Although for entrepreneurs, it's never easy.
No.
Doesn't matter. But what about your growth goals? I mean, obviously you have a firm that's got a deep history, both from your father and then what you've done with it. What are your growth initiatives? What are your goals? What do you look out when you look out? 3, 5, 10 years, right? Before you sell it all, or maybe pass it along to one of your children, and then go on a boat in Florida. What are
Yeah.
what are some of what are some of your initiatives and
Well,
goals?
realistically, I mean, honestly, one of the big things is obviously passing some type of legacy to my kids, right, and showing them the type of business person I wanted to be. That was one big thing when I watched my father through all of his career, and he worked very hard. He was gone a lot when I was younger, and did a lot of sacrificing for his family. I want to instill that into my children. So where do I want to be in business? One of my goals, I've actually achieved one of my goals, which is being a point now. I have kids. My kids are 9 and 7. Right, my son's about to turn 10.
Yeah.
It was to get to a stage in my life that I could be present for them during these times, and a lot of that had to do with putting the right people in place, and being able to still grow the business while they do that. And once they turn 13 and they want nothing to do with me anymore, then we're gonna get back to the grind and really grow the thing. Um, but in the meantime, honestly, we're putting on a steady percentage of clients. We're growing the business, um, you know, uh, not aggressively, but I say sustainably, right? So we're growing more than we're losing, and I want to keep that going. But I still want to be able to have that secondary part of life. And that's, as I said, it's important for me. It's important for the people I hire, and I'm going to keep going with that until I decide. In 10, 15 years, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to pass it to the kids or if I'm going to sell it off. My father's initial plan for the company was to sell it in 5 years. Here we are, 20 plus years later. So plans don't always go right.
Yeah, no, and so I'm probably, I don't know, 10 plus years ahead of you. And like you, I had kind of built my business. I kind of held it back so I could be present with my son. So now I have a 19-year-old, and now I have a 16-year-old's my youngest. And to your point, it was actually 13. They were still okay. They still want me to take him snowboarding, and I could still do that. Now that he's sick, my youngest is 16, and my 19-year-old's gone. Now is that go time. I'm like, okay, clearly I am bored because now the 16-year-old does not want to go snowboarding with me. I'm not sure I keep up with him anymore, but I think that's really important. I'm the same thing. I'm having conversations with my 19-year-old who is having conversations with my co-founders, who he's much closer in age to than I am, about them wanting to bring him into the business. So I'm like,
Right.
wow, okay, this is kind of cool, right? But I think that's so important. That window, we're joking about the window, with clients, but that window with our kids goes so fast, and there's plenty of time. And I applaud you for kind of building the business back, or maybe holding the reins back on it a little, as use that time wisely with your family. But at the same time, I think there's ways to still grow it too
Oh
without
yeah.
without
I have a real good a real good team that actually works on a lot of new clients. We still put on a lot. I'm just working a 40 to 50 hour week instead of a 70 to 80 hour week. Like like you do when you start off. But it's honestly, uh, being part of Thai and being growing this from the bottom up there's a lot of lessons in it that is going to be hard to teach the kids, because they're not going to be able to see the struggles that you have at the beginning of it. My son and I were just talking last night, and he had a freeze pop in his hand, and he's like, I go, oh, when I was 13, I worked at a concession stand. I used to sell those. He goes, yeah. He goes, oh, that's a great idea. I'm like, we have a pool here. You can go to the community pool and start selling some freeze pops. He goes, oh, that's awesome. He goes, I'll charge $1 for one. And if they want to buy 3, it'll only be 50 cents. I go, okay, we're going to have to work on your numbers here. I go, but your concept's good. He got into scouting, and I'll tell you what, I didn't know that. I thought that kid was very shy until I saw him out in front of the grocery store selling popcorn. But
I just told a story about the other day about so when I was growing up, this was back in the day, this even before you, we used to have fundraisers in school where you'd have to go like sell candy bars and stuff, right? And I did not like it at all. My best friend Mike loved it, right? So we'd go to the banks and stand in front of him. And to Mike's credit, he was like, we're going there on payday, right? On Friday.
Oh, there you
back
go.
in the day, because back in the day, there was no direct deposit. Everyone took their paychecks and went to the bank and got them cash. And so Mike was a smart dude. He's a CFO or CEO of a $50 million fitness company now. But anyway, I was never like that. And I was like, okay. And years later now, my love for marketing is coming to that. I was like, hey, I'd rather go out there and attract people to me through marketing than have to go out and knock the door down, for sales. But it is cool to see your own sons. My sons have gone through that as well in terms of seeing that entrepreneurial spark, that entrepreneurial, thread, and going, okay, that's pretty cool, right? We'll work on the profit margins there on the 2 for 1, 3 for 1, but just the fact that they have it is kind of cool.
Well, yeah, I mean, we did. So to mine and my wife's credit, and this was tough. We started a. I know we're a little off topic on business here, but
There's
we
no
started
off topic on this.
started a cash reward system for them. So they were doing chores last year for tablet time, TV time, things like that. This year, started getting paid for their chores and they have to pay for the tablet time and TV time. So they have started learning more about savings, learning more about like getting money, getting cash, trying to get out there and make money from other different areas, not just mom and dad. So I told them, they're like, well, tell you what, Dad. He goes, I don't have the money now, but I'll pay you back. I said, credits next year, son. Like we'll do a whole credit thing next year, but this year, no, you have to have cash in hand.
Yeah, I went right to it. I went right to the loan shark, and I was like, no problem. I'll give you that $1 now, but you give me $2 next month. And he's like, that's double. I was like, so you have choices.
Got to teach it. Hey, listen, everyone learns about money some way. So the question is, are you going to learn about money like I was when I had $15,000 worth of credit card debt at 18? Or are you going to learn money, when you're younger and you understand, like, I shouldn't do this. Like, I should spend within my means.
And some of it is just having those conversations. My folks weren't entrepreneurs. They didn't even recognize what I was. And I was like, wanted to do entrepreneurial type things as a kid, but we didn't even have those conversations. And, with my boys, I clearly have had a lot of it's very similar to what you're telling me today. And I'll tell you that my 19-year-old, this is his first year away at college. Now he's only in his second year. Last year, he was like, when he came home, I think it was for spring break last year. So he'd been away for several months. And he's like, thank you guys for, showing me, but forcing me to do the hard work, teaching me about, monetary. He goes, I run the finances of he has roommates. I run the finances for a house because they don't even understand like how to pay bills, where it goes. And I was like, yeah, man, like, it. And so to have those conversations, just the conversations alone is probably the best thing that we can be doing for our kids.
Yeah. Oh, I told my wife, we haven't done this yet, but I told her, I said, listen, the next phase is to go to Chuck E. Cheese and have them bring their own cash savings that they don't have, so they understand the need for savings when they can't play arcade games and we're sitting there eating.
Yeah, the problem with it though is they're smart. Chuck E. Cheese is smart. You convert dollars into their tokens, and they're like, oh, it's just tokens. They're just tokens.
Yeah, right. Well, they get the cards now, so it's even easier, right?
Oh.
So it's like, so I swipe it and they go. Listen, there's a reason why casinos have chips, right?
100%. All right, let's get back to business stuff. Let's talk about trends, right? So AI is obviously dominant. Generative AI, LLMs, large learning models. How is that, if anything, affecting your business? How are your clients and prospects having conversations with you about it? Uh,
That's a good question. So we have, I'm going to say this. So with the larger companies, their
let's
their
define larger,
IT,
by the way. Are we
oh,
talking
gotcha,
enterprise? Like, give me some.
enterprise, multi-billion-dollar revenuing companies. Those larger companies are very cautious about utilizing anyone that's utilizing AI because they don't want, you know, they're worried about a kink in the armor getting all their information, rightfully so. Where I see AI really helping out in the field right now is more threat detection, actually. So when we go and we resell threat detection, it's utilizing those zero threat models that are going in and watching for trends, watching for different things that are coming down the pipeline that might not have been seen before and wouldn't be in part of signature file of a traditional antivirus. That's really where AI has taken a good foothold. Um, is it going to get to a point of replacing service people? I mean, kind of. You kind of have the chat bots there now, but that's not going to be good support. I mean, it's nowhere near where it needs to be when it comes to it. As well as you're not going to get the right feel of the right person yet. It's there. I don't know if I'd ever replace my service people with any type of AI or chat bot. I'd rather them talk to a real person. Uh, but the when it comes down to different areas of project management, things to that effect, we haven't implemented anything when it comes to it yet, but there is a lot of opportunity out there to notice different trends that are happening, pull out kind of warning systems, early warning systems of projects off deadline. Right now, you have good enough project managers that kind of do it themselves. So, but I don't. I look at AI and I say I'm cautious about pulling the trigger on certain things when it comes to it. It's kind of one of those, and to my detriment sometimes, right? I saw Bitcoin, I'm like, I don't know enough about it to buy it. I spent $25, I could have had a Bitcoin back in the day pretty easy, right? But
We may have to talk about that offline.
yeah, right. So so my thing about where AI is going, as I said, I partner with a lot of people that know the industry, and right now I'm not putting anything in place myself, but I am working with people that do utilize AI. When it comes to my clients and their contracts, people are very cautious about utilizing any services with AI on it.
Are they curious? Are they what are the conversations at least revolving around it? Because I
Oh,
get what you're talking about, and again, without not privying and trying to gain privy into those conversations, but just like I'm just curious as to the conversations that are going on in the
yeah.
marketplace.
So we just did a security assessment, actually, one of our large clients, and they're like, if you check off that you're using AI, it just opens up a whole new section of everything you have to delve into. Now, as I said, I have partners that utilize AI. So you have certain AI bots or certain AIs that are very internal. So video surveillance being a good key indicator of one, where they're identifying different backpacks, people that are walking through, different colors, things like that, to do some type of really good video searching capabilities. Um, they're not opening that up to the world, right? So I think that's one of the fears of the AI. You know, what if you get it? What if you get it out there and it starts picking up information and it's bad, right? I talked with a AI governance company. So one of the things they wanted us to resell was their AI governance solutions, right? Basically what they do is they come in, they look at a client's AI, and they say, okay, we're going to run through some tests. We're going to give you some reporting on what's good, what's bad, what information is it gathering, and kind of going through the steps with them. We found that there's a lot of stuff that goes into AIs that mess it up, right? That
Mm-hmm.
actually point it into the wrong direction.
Hallucinations or
Yeah, so or it's it comes down to doesn't know how to operate something, but it sets it completely off basis on what you want to do. So that you ask it a question, it goes completely in the other direction. So there's a lot of fine tuning when it comes to that. I'm not an expert in it. I'm not going to pretend to be, but I do. The conversations I have a lot around it now with clients is more of cautious. You know, a lot of them are a lot more cautious about it. When it comes to vendors, people that are using them are keeping them very contained on what they use it for, so that they can control for those atmospheres. So
Interesting. Well, it's fascinating. I mean, it's just one of those things where, when I first came into the business world, the internet had just come about. It just was starting to get involved in the corporate world, and I worked for a company that was 110 years old, and just for them to even build an intranet, within the organization was like mind blowing, right? And this I think is like a 10x, on that. So it'll just be fascinating to see how quickly it evolves, how powerful it gets, and you know,
so it actually reminds me, everything's so cyclical. I can't even say that word. I'm sorry.
cyclical. I get it for you on this one. You get me on the next one. I'll get you on that one.
When VoIP started coming about, so in 2005, we did a very early VoIP deployment. So 2005, we did the VoIP deployment, 12 stores across country, um, putting in uh, putting in fiber networks um, into the VoIP provider, as well as into each one of these stores. Um, what we found was the back end, the data people were not ready, right? So everyone was pushing VoIP, but the problem was your lanes of highway were still buffering. So, and when you're sending an email, it doesn't matter. When you're trying to talk to someone, obviously it does, right? Here we are, 20 years later almost, and everything's working right, but it was a bumpy road to get there. I mean, I had 12 stores on it. We had constant issues. AI is going to probably be around the same thing as VoIP. I remember in 2005, somebody came to me and said, "I want to switch all my phone systems to VoIP." I can't even make this story up. And I went to him and I said, "Bob, why do you want to switch everything to VoIP?" And he goes, "Because that's the way everything's going." And I go, like, "What magazine did you read?" like,
Right, right.
like I go, "Listen, I have VoIP everything." I go, "But are you talking about SIP trunking into your site? Are you talking about VoIP into your phone system? Are you talking there?" I go, "And what advantages are you looking for? What problem are you trying to solve?" And it wasn't a problem. It was just I want to be on the front end of everything. It's like you're going to be on the bleeding edge, and it's going to be a problem for you. But AI is kind of the same way. Everyone's, "Oh, AI, oh, I have AI, I have this, I have that." It's like, it's okay to wait a little bit, especially, when we're dealing with larger clients. They don't want to be on the bleeding edge. They don't want those headaches when it comes to their day-to-day operations. Doesn't mean they're not going to use it for their, get out in front of everybody and be, give an advantage to themselves in the market doing something. But those IT people, the people that have to make sure stuff's actually running, they're very cautious about that, and rightfully so.
It's almost like that's where you want your banker to be conservative, right? It's probably in a similar type of vein, right? And speaking to you as the IT and previous banker, you'll appreciate that. But, as we look to wrap things up here, can you walk us through what it looks like for a new client that starts working with Thai National and with you?
Certainly. As a matter of fact, we put together something a very long time ago, and I have to do a monthly company meeting. We just went over this, as a matter of fact, on Monday, yesterday. One is it's our path to partnership. So what we do, whenever we talk to a new client, is we walk in and we do a design. Or I'm sorry, we walk in and we do a collaboration. So our collaboration is our first step, where we come in and we say, "What are your pain points? What are you trying to solve? What are you doing? What are you doing in the field now? What's working? What isn't working? Where are you?" And then we go in and we say, "Okay, let's try to solve one of those pain points, if not two." We help them design something, or we help them implement it. And then our fourth process is revamping and relooking at things. What can improve on that process? What can we do to either help with this pain point more, or what other pain points does this open up and show us that we need to work on? So that constant collaboration with our clients helps keep our clients for years. Like, we're not transactional one bit. We go in there and we talk about what can we do to help your business grow? And it's led to a lot of great partnerships out there. It's led to a lot of great relationships with people that have moved companies and brought us with them, right? And saying like, hey, these guys help me be successful. They're going to help me be successful over here, right? So one of uh, one of the new clients, staffing company we were working with, has about 150 locations. We got introduced to them by our partner for cloud surveillance. They said, listen, they're looking for one camera per location. We went in there and said, not a problem. We're going to help you with this. We got in front of a meeting, sat down with them. We said, guys, just tell us your pain points, right? And we started talking to them a little bit. They said, hey, you have a lot of locations. Like, how are you organizing and paying for your data circuits? And we start getting into that. They're building them off of spreadsheets, right? And somebody has to sit down and build a spreadsheet on what to pay and who, and are they getting the right thing? Are they getting multiple invoices? Someone's gathering all those. So just from there, we started talking to them about updating their circuits to consolidate them. We started talking about doing installations for them and getting out in the field so they don't fly people around the country. So one piece at a time, and they've been a client of ours now for a year and a half. We're doing all of their installs. They're putting in 4 or 5 cameras per location now. We are talking with them about different circuit options because they move a lot. So you can't just if you put a circuit in, you're going to pay early termination fees. So we're looking at 4 and 5G options for them that they can just pack up and move down the street if they need to. Everything from everything that they need to do to run their business. We're not just walking and saying, buy our router and use our help desk services. We're going to put this in place. We're going to do X, Y, and Z with you. No, okay, I'm going to go to the next guy. We are definitely the type of people that come in and say, let us be part of your business. Let us help you grow. And that path of partnership is really the key to it. So, and it's kind of funny because we didn't build the path of partnership, then do it. We were just doing it. And a marketing company came in and say, why are you successful? What do you do? Just, we're going to put this on a piece of paper for you. And that's what it was. So
I think that's going to continue to be the case. I think there's some transitions going on in, and let's call it the greater marketing and sales aspect of things. And I think the more that, uh, you know, companies out there who are providing services go out with that partnership mentality, not just from a buzzword, but do you understand what pains are you trying to, cure? Where are you trying to go? Like, what are your goals? Because we're all businesses, right? So it's like,
right.
what are your goals, right? Like, well, my goal is to grow my business and grow my revenue and to make it more profitable and retain my employees and do a good offer. And it's like, yeah, me too. So help me get there and we'll help you get there, right? It's not rocket science.
Exactly. And we have actually turned down clients before and just told them we're not a good fit. And those are the clients that come in, they're like, listen, we're gonna, we'd like you to come aboard. We're going to RFP this. I got 3 experts in house that are doing this, and we're going to do X, Y, Z. We just need your hands in the streets. Like we're not going to bring enough to the table for you. We're just not. It's not a good fit. This is what we do. This is how we do it. We're here for you, and we'll help you. We can help you design the RFP. We'll help you work with it, but we really want to be part of your business. And as social media is out there, and as the internet is forever, you have companies that will truly, if they keep operating the way they do. I got an example. I'm not going to call anyone out, but it's a large company that everyone knows. They just doubled the price of all of their clients' invoices. Anybody who didn't have over 5 locations on them, they took their bill, doubled it, and basically said, well, we're not going to charge you early termination fees if you want to go away. So we stopped doing business with them, and I go, and all of those executives, we will never do business to anywhere they go.
And there was probably a business reason why they did it, but it was probably the way that they went about doing it, right? Because it's almost like that to me. When you describe that, that sounds like the easy way out, is what it sounds.
Well, they did. Anybody who's watched the industry long enough know they're prepping for sale, and what they're doing is they want to cut their support staff, so they have to get rid of the smaller clients that cause the most support. So best way to do that without breaking your own contract is to have a clause in your contract saying, if I raise you over 10%, you can cancel if you want to. Otherwise, I'm getting twice as much money out of you for the same service. So, yeah, unbelievable. Trust me.
Well, Michael, I could talk with you for a long time. We've been talking for a long time, even offline, and I imagine we'll probably talk even after this. But As someone who's out there watching and saying, hey, what's a good way for us to learn more about Thai National?
Hmm.
What's a good way to follow what you're doing, Michael, or to even to get in touch? What's the best way that they can
Certainly.
do that?
Best way is right on the website, tienational.com. It's TIE national.com, stands for Technology, Installation, and Equipment. And from there, or following us on LinkedIn is really where we post a lot. We have a lot of new initiatives that we're doing, conversations like this being one of them, as well as our goal is to get out some informational videos out there, some quick little blurbs. We want to be out there to help people. So our goal is, contact us. If you don't know if you're unsure if we're right for you, we'll let you know. So that's, we're here to help you grow, and find you the best solution. And even if it's a small client, sometimes we pass them to our local people in our network. So we just want to make sure that everyone's doing the right thing and being able to be successful. It's a rough world out there, and we've survived 4 or 5 different once in a lifetime events when the economy hit. So
Hopefully there's none looming in the near future either.
if there will, we'll survive it.
That's
So
right. Well, Michael, I appreciate your time today. I'm really grateful for our conversation. I'd love to have you back again and continue to carry on this convo.
All right. Well, thank you. Me too.